Alright, let's get this started. Oh, hey, Sess. Coming in to watch me, are you? I'm just having a chill time. I'm kind of it's both cold and hot in my room right now, so I'm just chilling out. I'm not playing anything too intense. Um, I'm actually playing a weird game. I've not seen many people play this. I know Markiplier played it a while ago, but I'm playing Buried. If it wants to show up. Here we go. Um, so I'm just gonna chill out and play this. I was actually inspired to play this because of last night I was playing Starbound and found a little arcade cabinet that had a little visual novel thing on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play this. Um, so yeah. And yeah, I know, I'm a big gay. Um, but that's why I'm here, isn't it? So I wanna sure that I I don't know. I'm just gonna have a chill time with this. I've got a drink. Got all the time in the world, and I'm just going to chill out and read, basically, which will help me focus on the chat if chat comes through. So I'm gonna start. Ooh. Oh, that's a bit loud. That's a bit very loud. Okay, I can't turn it down. I can only turn it off. So I'll turn it down in here. Uh yeah, that's still a bit loud. Um Hold on. Let me get this fixed. I'm gonna blow my eardrums trying to play this game. Okay, let's bring it down to 20. No, it's still super loud for me. Bring it down to 15. That's a bit better. Okay, I can deal with that. Um yeah, no, okay, here we go, here we go. Oh dear. Oh, it's going without me. Oh god. I open my eyes, and the first thing I want to do is scream. I'm flat on my back, and everything seems to hurt. The trees overhead look familiar. It's clear. Oh god. Uh, it's a clear night sky, almost beautiful. Except for the fact that this means I've been out cold for at least 6 hours. Ooh, spooky. Uh, but there's something wrong. I don't remember what, but something happened, and my head, my god, my head hurts. And a ringing in my ears. Was there an accident? An explosion, I think? I remember Dennis screaming, but after that I can't remember. As I sit up, I notice my hard hat has been thrown off. I look around the area, but it's not here. It feels strange to go anywhere without my hard hat, but I've got to find other members of my crew. They could be in danger. Ooh. Oh, the start off to this is terrifying. Oh, the music and the just everything. Oh, hello. Uh, Commander Root. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it greatly. Um, so, there's, I guess, I've been in an accident. The only name I know so far is Dennis, and I have a crew. This is all I know. I can either search for my hard hat or forget the hard hat, search for the crew. Um, ooh. in emergency situations, you go for the people first, so... Even though you should be wearing your hard hat. I decide that my hat can wait until I figure out what's going on. I get up and take a look around the logging site. I smell something burning. I don't hear any engines running. Wait, something isn't right. Was it the bulldozer? Maybe the damn thing overheated for the last time. Maybe the engine finally blew. What a mess. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. Only one way to find out, I guess. I walk over to the center of the logging site and don't like what I see. Oof. Hey Luna, how's it going? How's it going? Yeah, I'm playing this weird game. Oh, hey, I can scroll up. I'm playing this weird game. This was actually inspired by us playing Starbound. So I'm keen. Let me know about volumes or anything. If I'm too quiet, if the game's too loud or anything. It's a bit loud for me, but it's kind of like spooky ambience, so I'm liking it. But yeah, I'm keen to just read some stuff. You and your silly interactive VNs. I like these things. I think they're fun. Like, it's they're just chill, you know? They're just chill. And I can chill out and I can focus on the chat. So so yeah, I've left my hat behind. Yeah, Cess is here. I've left my hat behind and I've gone to the middle of this logging site. Apparently I'm a logger or something. I know... I watched Markiplier play this a while ago. I can't remember how long. But I don't remember a thing about it. I know things get weird towards the end, but that's... I don't remember any context towards it, so... I know nothing coming into this game, basically. Walk over to the center of the site. Let's continue. Oof. That looks like a safety hazard. The logging site looks like a bomb was detonated right in the center. I don't know where to start. One load we had managed to stack on... One load we had managed to stack on a truck for the day is overturned, the trailer bent and the logs hanging off the back. Where the hell is everyone? My head is still killing me. And this ringing in my ears. I can't hear anything. Not birds, not my footsteps, nothing. It makes me wonder if I hit my head after my hard hat flew off. I run through a quick mental checklist to make sure my brain is still working. Yeah, I wish I could still do that. My name is Roger Hastings. I'm 41 years old. Year is 2017. I own a small logging company and we've been logging this strip of Kentucky woodland for almost a month now. Okay, so my brain works. That's a relief. Sure, Roger. Let's go this, Rog. Luna, don't be mean. But yes, it's true. Okay, so... yeah, my brain works, that's a relief. But it also makes me fearful, because something is certainly not right here. I look around the logging site, my mind trying to figure out what had happened. Just about every piece of equipment has been overturned or tilted. Oof, God. Tilted. I'm tilted. Look at the truck or look at the debris. Well, I mean... debris? I don't know what debris it is. Like, there's... Okay, I'll go with the debris. There are bits of debris everywhere. There are fragments of the 5-gallon bucket I keep our work rags in. A loose saw chain, an overturned gas canister. There has been an explosion. Had there been an explosion, all the fuel on the site would have started the fire, but there's no charring, no burning, nothing. I walked through the area where Dennis had been working. From the looks of it, he'd been moving slowly. He'd only taken down 4 trees today. But his metal lunchbox is open and an indicator that he had been taking an early break, but he's not here. No one is here. Where the hell is everyone? Ooh. I could try and make a call on my cell phone, but its battery is already running really low. Not that it matters, the reception is crap out here. I'm gonna yell out, cause... yeah. Hey guys, where the hell is everyone? Tony? Dennis? Frank? Joe? I don't know what that voice is. But the names fall amongst the wreckage, fall flat amongst the wreckage. I get nothing back other than scaring a few birds overhead. Might as well start walking and try and find some answers. The highway is almost a mile back through the woods, down the gravel road we used to reach the site. Maybe the crew ran that way for help? But why would they have just left me? Were they scared? Out of sorts? Maybe I can catch up to them. But with my truck turned over on its side, it looks like I'll be walking. My god, I can't even remember what I was doing before waking up on my back. Wait, what's that underneath the bulldozer? Oh my god, it's a leg. It has to be either Tony or Dennis. The dozer looks unstable and it might roll some more. It might not be safe to get close. But at the same time, I can't just leave him there. Oh god. Oh. Oh no. I gotta go look. Hey! I yell. Are you okay? Are you alive? I skip over the stray logs, the wreck equipment to get closer. Seeing the dozer teeter makes me think maybe I should have grabbed my hat. Yeah, sure. I can see a bit more of the leg. The jeans are soaked in blood. I recognize the work boots. It's clearly Tony. His leg is bent at an impossible angle, nearly crushed flat. The closer I get, the more apparent it becomes that Tony didn't survive. Leave it alone or pull the body out. If it's absolutely obvious that he's not alive, I'm not going to go in there because it's already said that the wreck is teetering and all of that, so it's not dangerous. First rule of first aid is check for danger, and I'll deal with it later. There's nothing I can do for him now. I start to back away slowly. In my shock, I stumble back, suddenly tripping over one of the stray logs. Bang my head hard on one of the logs. Fuck! Should have had my hard hat. Instantly, I can feel a massive lump on the... Damn, why didn't I grab my hard hat? Shit! But what hurts more is the realization that Tony is dead. Oh no, Tony! Looking at him, I feel something rising in my throat. I don't know if it's a scream or vomit. But I have to push it away. If I lose my cool right now, there are too many questions that would go unanswered. Shit, I can't believe this. Tony, he had 2 boys. He coached his oldest son's baseball team. He was the hardest worker I had, and one of the most honest and reliable men I knew. This isn't right. I can't stay here. I have to find Dennis, Frank, and Joe. I have to find out what happened here. Ooh. This is super spooky, I love it. Oh, we got logs. As I walk through the stack of logs... Sorry, there's a burp there. As I walk through the stack of logs from the last week or so of work, everything feels frozen. The high-pitched sound in my ears. It's terrible. It keeps happening every few seconds. It sounds like it's coming from far away. I can't help but wonder, is it my ears or is it something else? The silence out here is creepy. And there's a smell, like the atmosphere after a bad summer storm. Ooh. Love that smell, that kind of staticky, humid smell. Whatever. I'm missing stuff. I might as well admit it. I'm a little scared. Everyone is missing, and it's dead quiet out here. There doesn't seem to be a breeze, or to rustle the leaves and branches. Ugh. Dead quiet. My right knee hurts like hell. My head was hurting so bad before, I never even noticed the pain in my knee. Yeah, well, my head always hurts, so join the club, buddy. I must have heard it during the what? Accident? Or... who knows? Wait, is that Dennis? I see him sitting on the ground, motionless, about 30 feet away. Yell out or walk up? I'm going to approach. He's just sitting there, not moving. I walk up slowly next to it. Dennis! Hey man, can you hear me? I tap him on the shoulder. He looks up at me from the ground, clearly coming out of a daze. Yeah, Roger. I hear you. He's a big black man, apparently. Dennis is built like a wrestler and has a tough personality to match. You know what? Let's go with it. But in this moment, he looks disoriented, even a little anxious. Though I'm glad to see him. The fear on his unusually confident face is alarming. What the hell happened? What the hell happened? What's going on? He asks. An explosion, I think, or I don't know. The crew is missing. Well, we really don't know. Oh, this is just getting weirder and weirder, and we're not even at the title card of the game yet. I don't know. The crew is missing. We have no idea what happened. Missing, Dennis says. Where do you think they went? I'm not sure, I say. But it has me pretty freaked out. Something's not right here. These voices are the worst. Still sitting on the ground, he looks around the woods as if he is just now understanding the severity of the situation. The equipment was overturned. The dozers too, I say, wiping my forehead. You okay? I ask him. Yeah, just a bit shaken up. Me too. God, I'm the worst at voices. Just stop me if they get too bad. This might be the most intimate conversation Dennis and I have ever had. While he and I have always been on good terms, we're never particularly close. Yeah, well, that's how I am with a lot of people. I've always respected him, though. Sure, he's coming out... He's come to work a few times looking like he's been in a bar fight the night before. But I've also seen him do an enthusiastic impression of a dinosaur as he played with Tony's kids while they waited for their dad to finish up his shift. It's then that it hits me. Dennis and Tony were good friends. I'm not sure I want to rattle him with the news of Tony's death right now. Not before we know what's going on, but he has a right to know. Yeah. Ooh. See, telling him can lead to shock, that leads to panic, that leads to poor choices, but not telling him can lead to betrayal and dishonesty and distrust. No, Tony is dead. You were upfront about Tony. Oh, Jesus. Dennis's eyes fixate on me, startled. He was crushed under a dozer, I say. Dennis pauses for a moment like he's trying to understand what I said. His eyes narrow and his bottom lip quivers. Shit, he says. I can tell that he's fighting back tears. He and Tony had been tight, almost like brothers. Hey, he adds quickly, as if trying to escape the reality of Tony's death. Did you see that light? Oh god, wrong voice. No, I say. What did you see? God, I'm so bad. They're just getting worse. I don't even know, Roger, he says. It was like this flare of white light. Came right up out of the ground, like an explosion. So there was an explosion, I say. Maybe it was some equipment, or... This was no equipment, Dennis interrupts, agitated. This huge ball of light came right out of the damn ground. What did it look like? Well, we know what it looked like, a huge ball of light. Where did it go? It just shot up into the sky until it was out of sight. When? I'm not sure, he answers. But I had finished about 10 trees for the day, and I was about to top one. That's when it happened. You were almost done with 10 trees? I asked. Yeah, he said, looking at the ground. You know, I wouldn't want to take a lunch break until I was done. This is getting really creepy. And that's when the light blew up. Why? You don't believe me? Think you're exaggerating, or I believe you. There's reason to believe that he may be in shock. So... But there's also no reason to not believe him. Ooh. Coming up with the hard questions. Hold on, have I... No, Tony is dead, okay. Oh god, it's so slow to scroll. I think you're exaggerating. You didn't quite believe Dennis's story. You think I'm making this up? You think I got whacked on the head and started seeing things? Dennis asked. No, Dennis. It's just... Get the hell away from me, he interrupts. I don't need this. Get away from me! Oh, Jesus. Dennis, come on, look. The highway is more than a mile away, and we could be... Fine, he shouts. Let's get moving and just keep your distance. Whoa, jeez, Dennis got aggressive. We both stand up and start heading towards the road. It isn't until we start moving that I see Dennis is wounded. His right side is coated in blood, the red seeping through his blue work shirt. There are splatters of it here and there, but also a very large red splotch that makes me worry. Are you in a lot of pain? How'd you get that injury? Ask for circumstance. What do you care? He snaps. He clearly still resents me for not believing his whole story, but what happened to him? Maybe it was being thrown by whatever that explosion was? It's then that I notice the strange ringing in my nose is still filling the air. Hey, I say, stopping. Do you hear that high-pitched ringing noise every once in a while? Dennis looks scared when I ask him this question and he just nods. Thought it was just me, he says. He looks out of sorts and uncertain. I've never seen him like this before. It's obvious that he's looking for some reassurance. Even though I'm his boss, there's something very unnerving about this. Hello, Hydrate Bot, yes? What do you have to say? Emote Hydrate to toggle emote mode when sending hydration reminders. Also, your settings may be changed in the chat while you're offline. Brilliant. Thank you, Hydrate Bot, for alerting me to the fact that you exist. I'm not drinking water right now, but I am drinking lemonade, so, see you in a bit. It's freaking me out. We'll be okay, it's probably nothing. I'm the worst. I'm the worst at keeping people calm, so I'm just gonna say it's freaking me out, because I've already pissed him off to the point that he doesn't like me. So, I might as well continue to vamp this shit up. God, the game is actually really loud. I will actually be turning that down, because that is loud. That's better. Alright. Here we go. Yeah, it's freaking me out. It's freaking me out. I'm sure I sound scared, but I don't really care. I look to Dennis and see that my confusion and fear have seeped into him. And is that disappointment in his expression as well? Oh, is that disappointment in his expression? Yeah, whatever. I think so. It's as if he expects me to be stronger, to assure him that we're fine and nothing out of the ordinary is happening. We both start moving forward and don't say another word. Did you try to call Frank? Dennis asks. I know he had his cell on him today. Not yet. Luckily, I still have some battery left. I pull out my cell and call Frank. Happy I didn't make that call to Dennis earlier. Yeah, that would have been... oof. Or Tony, sorry. If you call Tony. It rings, but he doesn't pick up. Then I hear his phone go off, behind the stack of logs. Dennis, I give each other another look. As the phone goes to voicemail, I hang up. We walk behind the logs to find Frank's phone on the ground, abandoned. We look around for Frank, but find nothing, not a single trace. It's then that I notice something really odd, a 10-foot wide hole in the ground. But there's no stray piles of removed dirt or rocks. It's clean, smoothly dug, cutting into the earth, wide, but only a few feet deep. What? Wait, what? A 10-foot wide hole. But it's just a 10-foot wide hole, but it just, it's only a few feet deep? That's weird. It looks unnatural, like the ground was just deleted. No shovels or diggers used. Dennis walks over to it. This looks like the same kind of hole where I saw that light coming from the ground, he muses to himself. I say nothing, my mind's spinning, but I don't know what to think. We need to get out of here, Dennis mutters. At that moment, that ringing noise carries through the forest again, sending a shiver down my spine. Dennis was right. There's something strange going on. We might not be safe here. But that ringing sound, could it be a clue to where the rest of the crew went? No, let's check out that sound, or... Agreed, let's get the hell away from here. I mean... we know Tony is dead. We have Dennis with us, but he's deeply hurt. And the only one that is left is Frank. And he seems to be completely missing. Oof. I don't know. It's so difficult to decide, really. I'm gonna go... You know what? It's giving me the willies. I'm gonna get out of here. Decided to avoid the sound. Yeah, probably a good thing. With that, we turn and start walking to the west, in the direction that I'm pretty certain leads to a road. Here we go. Oh, all these backgrounds are creepy. It's sort of embarrassing. I've been a logger for nearly 15 years, but I'm finding it easier to get lost in these woods. The trees are so thick in places that the moonlight doesn't even reach the ground. It's easy to get turned around. My only hope is that I can find the overgrown dirt road that will lead us back to the highway. Sure we're headed the right way? Dennis asks. Pretty sure, I say. I turn to him to see that he's clearly in pain. It's at this moment that we come upon another one of those smooth holes. This one is even stranger because a nearby tree has a chunk cut out of it. The arc goes through smoothly, through the ground and then up through the tree trunk, like a cartoon wrecking ball blasted through both of them. Ugh, weird. What the hell are these things? Dennis whispers to himself. Wasn't a very good whisper, but you get the idea. He takes a step down into the hole, his boot creating imperfections in the shape, like footprints on a sand dune. Step down into it or walk around the perimeter. Weird suddenly appearing holes. I'm not climbing inside. I will walk around the perimeter. I walk along the edge, each step sending pebbles down into the hole, ruining its perfect shape. Amazed how smooth it is. Even rocks that were under the earth have been sheared to fit its spherical shape. But as I'm noticing this, I notice Dennis's feet start to sag. "Dennis, get out!" I shout, but I don't finish. Before he can react, the ground is giving way and he's falling. I try to step back, but the fissure that opens up disintegrates the ground beneath my feet as well. I cry out in surprise. I can barely hear Dennis letting out a curse as we go down into the earth. Oh. Okay, we've now fallen into a hole. Okay, fall isn't a long one, but I hit something a few seconds later. It hurts like hell. The wind rushing out of me when I hit, a sharp pain flies through me. "What the hell?" I say once my breath is back. Besides me, Dennis is slowly rolling over to get onto his feet. I look up to see the hole in the ground where we fell through. It looks about 10 feet over our heads. It's completely dark, but there's a small flicker of light further into the cave ahead of us, and a solid wall of rock behind us? Okay. Oof, I'm losing myself here. Looks like the only ways out are further down the cave or up through the way we fell in. Dennis might be able to boost me up there, but with his injuries, I'm not sure how stable he is. He might drop me. It's 10 feet up. I mean, you know, assuming that you're like, or he's like 6 foot tall and you're like 5 foot something, or well, I myself am 5'7", so if it's 10 feet up and he's at least 5 foot, then it's not any taller than both of you, but he is injured, so he's injured, we've both had a fall. Let's head further into the cave. Decide we'd better not risk hurting ourselves over trying to climb out. We turn to head into the cave and take a closer look at the light further ahead and realize it's artificial. We both start heading towards it instinctively. Artificial light is good light. As we step into the light, panic gently gnaws at me because what I'm seeing makes absolutely no sense. It's no longer a cave or hole. It's a long, sparsely lit corridor. Oh god. It's a massive corridor, in fact. It seems to go on forever. This corridor is mostly dark with emergency light every 10 feet or so. Turn to my left and see that there's a door which appears to... I sound like Shatner. I turn to my left and see that there's a door which appears to lead upwards to the outside, but it's locked tight. I push as hard as I can, but no luck. "Dennis, help me with this," I say. He comes over and we both try and kick the door open, but it doesn't budge. For some reason, someone doesn't want people getting out of here. It looks like we were headed down the hallway. Or it looks like we're headed down the hallway. Tiptoe quietly or walk quickly. Oh god, this is already terrifying me. Walk quickly. I'm eager to figure out what's going on here. Our footsteps echo loudly in the dust and the dirt. Dennis leans on me for support. If there is anyone here, it's not like I'm trying to be quiet or stealthy with the intention of sneaking up on them. If anyone is listening, they definitely know we're here now. As I carry Dennis to the far end of this otherwise featureless place, I see a flight of concrete stairs leading down. I have to set Dennis down on the floor. His weight is killing me. "Dennis, are you okay?" "What the hell do you care?" Dennis spits at me. "Why start caring about me or the other guys on the crew now?" "What? I mean, just because I didn't believe your story of giant glowing lights in the sky doesn't mean I don't care about you. I mean, you're still part of my crew, but I'm really, like, losing this stuff. I can still hear the ringing noise every so often, coming from somewhere in here. I look ahead at the concrete stairs, pointing towards them so that Dennis sees them. "Can you make it down those stairs?" I ask. He stands up slowly, visibly making an effort not to fall back down. "Yeah," he says. Sounds a little irritated. He starts for the stairs without me, and I have no choice but to follow. We approach the stairs, and by just looking at them, I get the sense that we're crossing some sort of line here. It may very well be no going back. Ooh, secret underground facility. What have the American government been doing? I mean, it's got to be some government facility. I mean, come on. Oh, that looks like some kind of asylum. Oh, I don't like this. As I head down the stairs, I notice that they look aged. The damned ringing noise is somewhere below, louder than ever. I feel like I'm walking down into the cellar of a haunted house, the light becoming scarce, and the stairs take a slight turn. I can feel the temperature drop. Spooky ghosts! Dennis makes it a few steps down before he's leaning on the wall. He's breathing like he just finished a marathon. Pause to give him a break or keep up the pace? He's injured. You gotta go ahead at his pace. "Let's take a break," I say, putting my hand towards his shoulder to help steady him. "Leave me alone," he says, pushing me away. He's still angry, but also scared, something I understand. So we keep walking, despite his animosity. Dennis clearly allows me to take the lead as we venture further down. As we do, my mind seems to lock in on the unknown fate of the rest of my crew. Frank is married, and I've met his wife a few times. Nice woman, with a huge laugh. Gotta love girls like that. My heart sags a bit, but when I realise I might never again get to hear him bleating out classic rocks tunes during lunch break, of course. Joe, well... oh wow, I forgot about Joe. Joe, well, I don't know too much about him. He's 22 years old, and is considering community college. Good choice. His folks are deadbeats, so he's been providing for himself since the age of 16 or so. Maybe I can still find them, and still get to hear Frank singing his deep baritone voice after too many drinks. Oh, maybe I gave the wrong voice to bloody Dennis. I have to make Dennis stay behind me as I stick my foot out in search of the next step. Is it that dark? Jesus. After what feels like forever, we come to the bottom of the stairs. We're closer to that ringing noise now. The door sits securely in the wall and looks as out of place down here as I feel. A sliver of light seeps through, illuminating the area. The door has what looks like a panel with lots of labels and lights. Small embossed print above the panel say Level 01 Entrance Gate, Transport Sector. There's a button with no label. It's back to the panel. The panel looks like a diagnostics or alert system of some kind. Each label meant to communicate some status. Lockdown engaged. Experiment in progress. Shutdown engaged. All of those appear to be off, but one of the phrases has a slowly blinking red light next to it. The only powered light on this whole thing. Abnormal entity breach. What the hell? Hit my sentiments exactly. I slowly push the door open when Dennis suddenly steps in front of me, taking the lead. "Let's go," he says. "I want to find out what the hell this place is." As Dennis walks through, that ringing or beeping or whatever it is gets a little louder. The door closes behind us with a click. I can't help but notice the wobble in Dennis's steps as he lets out a grunt. "Sure you're healthy enough to keep going?" I ask. "Doesn't matter. I don't want to be in the woods right now." That's fair. He seems scared. Something I've never seen before. Angry? Yes. Upset? Yes. But Dennis is never scared. What did you see? What's so dangerous? What did you see? You know what? Dennis says clearly. Never mind, I'm not going to tell you anything else. It's not like you would believe me anyway. Damn it. I feel like I made a bad choice there. I've been so preoccupied with my own fear that I nearly forgot about the ringing noise. Become just background noise. We take a few more steps, and I can see now where we are. It makes no sense. Yet another thing that seems out of place. The shapes of muted colors of metal are easy to identify, but it just doesn't belong here. End of chapter 1. Ooh, okay, so... yeah, I feel like I fucked up. Not believing Dennis's story. I mean... you know... it was a bit of a hard story to believe, but the fact that he's this pissed off... you know, it's not like I would have said, like, I don't believe you, you're crazy. I would have said, I mean, how could that be? I'm not gonna believe that's absolutely certain, but I'm not going to discredit it as not truth either. Like, scientific process of proving it and figuring it out and figuring out what's going on instead of just going with what you think you see, because he's clearly injured, he's lost blood, and he might be delirious, he might have hallucinated, he might have been in shock. So that's why I went with it, but apparently it was a bad choice because Dennis doesn't like when people don't believe him. Moving on. Oh, we got very quiet. Respect the dead. Oh, okay, we get stats. You and 36% of players left Tony's body where you found it. Well, there was nothing we could do. You and 76 of players were upfront about Tony's death. Well, I mean, yeah, you should. 45% of players told Dennis you didn't believe their story, and 25% of players ran away from the ringing sound. I mean, ooh. I was not in the majority here. I did not get the majority. Ooh. I mean, the only thing was being upfront about Tony's death, but that's what you should say, so... because that's about not only saying that, like, he's your friend, you deserve to know, but it also helps in an emergency situation confirming the location of other people. If he knows that Tony is dead, he doesn't have to keep looking for Tony. So it's kind of that kind of logic. I don't know. I'm a bit stupid. 25% of players ran away. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna run away because it's weird. The things are panicked, and oof, I did not make the right choices here. Begin chapter 2. A train? We're standing on a thin platform of what looks like a fancy subway. The rails look well used. Why is there a heartbeat in the background? It's freaking me out. It looks well used, but not old. There are small overhead lights that are very dim, as if they were running on emergency power. The dim overhead lights are a blessing, but the size of the place makes me feel vulnerable. Staring ahead, the tunnel seems to be endless. It's almost dizzying, but there's a small light further ahead, and then a space that breaks out of the monotony of the tunnel's curved surface. Okay. Another platform, maybe? Why are we in a subway tunnel? And Dennis, what do you think of this? Why did the game get so loud again? This part of the game is just really bloody loud, so turn that down a bit more. Yeah, this is utterly terrifying, and I'm quite scared right now. Um, oh, this is, oh, I don't even know what to do. So quick recap. We woke up. Our name's Roger. We have found one of our crew who is injured, one of them dead, and two are missing. And then we've got this noise and this weird underground facility. And we hit our head. And we don't have a hard hat. Why are we in a subway tunnel? Dennis, what do you think of this? Boy. Looks like we're waiting for the D train, Dennis says with a deadly sounding cackle. Also, the ringing noise is louder down here. It's much more solid now, and there's some other sound. Something like a faint hum of machinery. Well, that's something. What's your take on this, boss? You think we're safe here? Dennis asks. Not at all, is what I think to myself, but I don't want to let Dennis see that I'm rattled. Well, he seems to be limping along much better than when he first stumbled into this place. He's still in rough shape. Oh, poor Dennis. I'm leading him here, and I should probably make him feel confident in that. I'm not sure this is creepy, or yeah, we'll be fine. I mean, in this scenario, I would say with abnormal entity breach, that's utterly terrifying. But in this scenario, when you're out in the woods and you've lost all your crew and all of this stuff, I want to get a drink, but I don't want to miss anything. Okay. Yeah, in this situation, I would feel more along the lines of, this is clearly a man-made building. Like, people have made this. It's probably like a government facility or something. And part of me thinks that, like, we could end up dead. Like, it could be like one of those government secret things that's just like, you're not supposed to be here, bang. But at the same time, in an emergency situation, I'd rather be in this place, because in places like this, there's always help. You can always find services in places like this, especially on train lines and stuff. So, we'll be fine. I'm sorry about not being able to get a drink, Luna. We're in too far to go back, I say. Besides, if we're caught for trespassing, I'm pretty sure we'll slide by. We're good. You're in pain, and we've got to find the rest of our crew. They could still be here somewhere. Dennis nods and looks reassured, albeit weak and miserable. From the looks of it, we can go either left or right. The left is slightly lit, and the right not so much. Oh, jeez. This makes me uneasy because of the sense that one wrong turn in this place, and we could be wandering for hours. Suddenly, I jerk my head to the right as I hear an unmistakable sound of someone walking. Did you hear that? I asked Dennis, my eyes straining to see anything in the darkness. Not sure, he says. Maybe it kind of sounded like footsteps. I wait for a moment, but the sound doesn't come again. So those are our options. To the left are flickering lights indicating that we'll at least be able to see. There's also a hum of machinery, a sign of life. To the right is just darkness, but we also heard footsteps. Left or right? I'd rather go towards running machinery rather than signs of life, because in any machine room, in any decent machine room, you're gonna have a first aid kit. And Dennis is injured, so I'm looking out for him. He's my boy. Even though he's pissed at me, he's my boy. Whereas footsteps in the darkness, I mean, who knows? With this huge tunnel, it could be rocks falling or water dripping for all we know. So we're gonna go left. You decided to go into the lights. It seems a smart way to stay into the light. Left it is. Left is always right. So that's what I always say. Left is always right. I don't know why I say that, because it's definitely not true. But I mean, we got given a choice of left or right, and the only logical answer is yes. Do you want to go left or right? Yes. Left it is. More train. Okay, we got this over on the side here that looks like an entrance of some sort. As we head left, the lights ahead are like a beacon in the dark, luring us forwards. Someone left the lights on for us, Dennis says, trying to be funny but creeping me out instead. Wonder if that's a good or bad thing, I say. As we near the lights, I hear the hum of machinery grow louder, but it doesn't sound like any machine I've heard before. As the light increases, I use it to take inventory of Dennis and his condition. While the bleeding seems to have stopped, the amount that is soaked into his pants and shirt is beyond alarming. How much further can you walk? I ask him. Can you keep going? Yes, he says. Let's walk into the deep tunnel that has no business being here. Oh, that's terrifying. Now, God damn it, Dennis. Now fully stepping into the light, I notice that the sound of machinery is coming from an area on the left side that is protected by a guardrail. Hey, see, there we go. We've got the entrance on the left. Wisps of bright blue light dance on the walls as they leak out of whatever is below. I also notice a posted sign that says, "Danger! Severe radiation poisoning threat." Ooh. I gotta take a closer look. I can't. It's worth taking a look. We walk over to the guardrail and peer down below. This is where the strange hum is coming from. Further down in the dark, there's something that I can only assume is some sort of power generator. There are tanks, pipes, and valves, sure, but there's something odd about it. It looks like it doesn't belong here. Hey, Dennis says, nudging me. Do you see that? He gestures to the main pipe coming out of the top. As my eyes trace along, it just disappears into a black floating mass. I rub my eyes and look again. The pipe goes up into a sphere, but within the sphere is the deepest darkness I've ever seen, and the area around it just seems twisted, almost like a rip in space. I don't know much about whatever this thing is. I don't know much about whatever this thing is, Dennis says, but I don't like being near it. He's now turning into a southern guy. I agree, and we walk off down the tunnel again, eager to be away from the pipe and those lights. As we start walking, I notice another structure coming into view up ahead. Oh, this game is so tense. Oh, here we go. See, we've got proper exit signs. We've got train platform. Like, there we go. As we head further into the tunnel, we reach another platform. There's a light coming from the bottom, from the platform, but like the overhead lights, they are also dim, red emergency lights. Okay. The ringing noise that I originally thought was in my head is getting louder. I'm starting to think it's some sort of an alarm. Yeah, that would make sense. When we come to the large open area in the tunnel, it further resembles a subway station. As much as I try to ignore the reality, it's undeniable. We have stumbled into some sort of high-tech transportation system that is buried beneath the forests of Kentucky. Damn it, Kentucky! Where's my chicken? It makes absolutely no sense and creates an entirely new sort of fear to what the hell we have walked into. I notice that Dennis seems confident though. When we reach the large opening, we have to climb over the rails to get up onto the platform. I have to help Dennis over the rails, and then up the small utility ladder that is bolted to the opposite side of the travelway. God, I have stopped being able to read apparently. When he reaches the large open area, resembling a subway waiting area, he collapses onto the floor and lets out a heaving breath. You know what? Dennis says, exasperated. This is ridiculous. I quit. I'm not going any further. Damn it, Dennis. On top of worrying about my crew, the madness of wherever we are, I'm not in the mood for Dennis to act like a baby. You can do this. You can do this, buddy. I'm not the one with the gashes in the side, so I decided to cut him short. Damn, boss. I'm sorry, he says. It's okay, I say. I don't know how you're still on your feet, if I'm being honest. Stubbornness, he says with a weak laugh. You need a minute to rest? I ask him as warmly as I can muster. No, if I sit down and rest, I'm afraid I might not be able to get back up. Let's keep going while I can still go. I reach down to help him to his feet, and then we get ourselves up onto the platform. Right in front of us, there's an entrance to a long hallway exiting the platform area. It's at this point that I realize those red emergency lights might be for someone else who's actually supposed to be here. Stay hydrated, bud. You've been here for 1 hour. Oh, you need a drink. Oh, drink. Oh. Okay. Back to it. Someone that's supposed to be here. Again, we are... I don't know. I feel like in an emergency situation, Dennis is hurt, and he's just said, you know, he's just tried to sit down saying that, like, he's not going to go any further, which isn't actually a sign of not wanting to go further. It's because he clearly got back up and started moving further when I reassured him. It's a sign of his injury is getting to him. He might be suffering from blood loss. So the main cause of concern right now, despite everything, is getting Dennis some help. So... Hello? Anyone there? I ask. I raise my voice out and almost shout. There's not much of an echo. My voice falls flat like a rock from the sky. I'm almost glad that I don't get an answer. Hearing anything else in this hollow silence would have given me a heart attack. The emergency lights continue to flicker overhead, casting a sick sort of pinkish light on everything. My mind is racing with what sort of place this might be. Sorry, I stumbled over that sentence for some reason. It's obvious that it's meant to be a secret. And if it is supposed to be a secret, and there was a power outage recently, maybe everyone has been evacuated. While I'm pondering this, a wave of nausea comes over me out of nowhere. I lurch forward, vomiting all over the floor. Whoa, is all that Dennis mutters as he instinctively steps away. My insides feel like they're trying to escape. I put my hand out looking for a wall to lean on. Are you okay? Dennis asks, finally pulling himself together from the surprise. Yeah, I barely managed to gasp out after a minute. I barely managed to gasp out, sorry. After a minute the feeling subsides, but where the hell did that come from? Was it that weird power generator? Oh great, I've got radiation poisoning. I finally collect myself and stand back up, praying that I never have to feel like that again. Let's keep going, I say, wiping my nose with my sleeve. We step inside and it seems just as empty as every other place we've come through. Weakly illuminated by more overhead emergency lights. We're standing inside a hallway that looks surreal for a moment. This place is so creepy. Oh, it looks kind of like a hospital almost. The hallway reminds me of a hospital wing. Nailed it. But there's something not quite right about it. It's the first clean, tidy area I've seen since coming into the woods. Or since coming to in the woods, sorry. It looks like it was recently in use, despite the dim emergency lights overhead. There are chairs against the walls, and the floor look well cleaned, as do the walls. Yeah, they all look clean. Everything's clean. The ringing noise is definitely coming from here. A small flashing red light along the ceiling seems to flash along with it. That ringing noise is an alarm, I say, only if to confirm my own thought. But for what? Dennis asks. And then he asks the question that has been on my mind since we fell into that hole. What the hell is this place? We exchange a look that speaks volumes. We reach the end of the hallway and hear a sound like a large metallic grinding. This is followed by a clicking noise, and then the unmistakable noise of a generator kicking on. I guess someone turned on the backup generator. Oh god, my mouth is like dry now because I'm freaking out. Even despite Hydrobot telling me to drink. Oh, this is terrifying. I like how I nailed that. I was like, it looks like a hospital wing, and then it looks like a hospital wing. Oh my god. I'll steamroll right through to it. Hey! Lights have come on. Without warning, the facility jolts to life. The red glow of the emergency lights is suddenly replaced with bright white fluorescent ones, so long as they're not flickering. That mechanical hum is oddly comforting. Somehow, the power being back on urges us on. It's then that I notice the ringing noise has stopped. So it had been an alarm, but for what? Just the power failure? Or the entity? We head down the hallway. The electric hum of the lights sounding eerie overhead. Brrr. I hate that noise so much. Other than that, the place is dead quiet. The hall is 100 feet long with two main doors. One door opens to a large room that looks like a conference room with a whiteboard and papers strewn about. Across the hallway, another door looks like a laboratory of some sort. Dennis slumps against the wall in defeat and lets out a scary-sounding chuckle. Something funny? I ask as a dark, brooding panic starts to grip me. Dennis just keeps chuckling as he slides down onto the floor. I'm just gonna sit here while you look around, he says. Oof. There's a look in his eyes that reminds me far too much of a dead animal on the side of the road. A sense of impending doom is an actual documented medical side effect of being in stress, being in panic, being blood loss, having the wrong blood put into you, having a heart attack. A sense of impending doom is a symptom, and that sense is usually what causes people to curl up into a ball and stop. So it seems Dennis is more hurt than he previously let on. Alright, conference room is good to figure out where you are. You'll find documents on the place you're in to figure out what was going on. But a laboratory is bound to have equipment, like safety equipment in case of an emergency. But at the same time could contain very dangerous chemicals, depending on the type of lab. So, but I feel I don't need to know what's going on in this facility. I need to know if I can help Dennis. So, the lab is the more important choice. Assuming it's not like a biolab or something, which it looks like it might be. Walking inside, I see small vials of glass, containers held in a glass case. Everything is either glass or silver. I instantly feel like I'm dirtying the place up. I notice several test tubes in glass cases, as well as some sort of tube system that seems to have clear fluid trapped inside it. In the back corner, I find a laptop in screensaver mode. The test tubes aren't going to be any use to us, so let's look at the laptop. I hit the enter key and a plain background pops up. There are several icons and folders to choose from. I click the folder labeled Test 15 Ethos. A few documents filled with formulas and names I mostly don't understand, but there is some things that are easy to understand, things that make my blood go cold. Subject 6, cause of death, embolism or aneurysm, or both. Ideas for new delivery mode, spherical liquid. Spherical liquid? Oh, ideas for new delivery mode, spherical, liquid, question mark. Induce comatose state first. TerraCore Co. equals possible plutonium supplier. So, that's terrifying. Might as well look at the test tubes now. I can't help but go to the test tubes. They're all filled with varying green and light blue fluids. That's terrifying. One of them looks to have some sort of glowing dirt resting in the bottom of it. Another holds what looks like a grasshopper submerged in liquid, only it's the strangest grasshopper I've ever seen. At first it looks like it's expanding and contracting like a blowfish, and then it contracts so much that it vanishes completely. As I look closer, it springs back into existence in a completely different test tube, and I'm embarrassed when I actually jump back. I take another look around the lab, trying to piece together what might have been taking place here. Jesus. I smell some sort of chemical in the air. It makes me think that someone has used this lab recently. Outside the hallway, I hear Dennis grunting. I head out of the room to see him still seated on the floor, but I don't get very far because as I exit, a man comes rushing around the corner with an automatic rifle in his hand. Ooh, okay, so there's me, there's Dennis on the floor, and there's a new man with a gun. I don't like this. And the music isn't helping. It's hard to look beyond his rifle, but the man carrying is young, with messy dark hair. His skin is so pale, I wonder if maybe he lives down here. He has a look of a guy who has been cooped up for a little too long. Like me. He doesn't seem like the kind of person I'd trust with a gun in a stressful situation. He sees us in the doorway and screams and brings the gun up, aimed directly at my head. Oh god, put hands up into the air or try and attack. Hands up. I'm just logging guy. I'm not going to attack him. He's got a gun. Put my hands up into the air, surprised at how natural it feels to go into this surrendered state. Whoops. Maybe it's because this feels like a dream. Maybe it's because I feel like I'll snap awake if the maniac pulls the trigger. I recognize you. You stomped around and set off the security mics in the entrance. What? I ask, unable to think of anything else to say. Who are you? The man shouts. Did you do this? God, what was that voice? The man's eyes... Oh, sorry. The man eyes us both and sees something in his eyes that unsettles me. He's scared, but there's something else. We're just loggers. We're nobody. Don't shoot us. Well, might as well tell him. His eyes look distant for a minute, and he says, "Bullshit!" But for some reason I'm pretty sure he knows that I'm telling the truth. "Someone knocked the power out," the man says. "It's back on now, but if it was out long enough, well, we're in a heap of trouble." Was it you? Who sent you? "Look, we don't know what you're talking about," Dennis says. "Something happened in the woods." Are you alone? Are there others with you?" the armed man asks, thrusting his gun in my face. Oh God, please don't. How the hell did we get in this situation? I think to myself, if we hadn't fallen into that hole, we wouldn't be here. I'm not really sure if I want to be giving this guy information. I don't know anything about him. Then again, he might have answers. No, just us. We're looking for our crew. Yeah, we're looking for our crew. We're missing 2 people. We have other crew members that we can't find. I say, "Your crew?" he asks, seeming confused. If this man thinks that we're nuts, there's no telling what he might do. The fact that he looks a little crazy himself makes the situation hairier. "But how'd you get in here?" the man asks. I pointed the hole towards the subway. "We came in that way. The doors weren't locked." The man's expression calms a bit, but I am still very aware of the gun that is leveled less than a foot away from my face. To add to the stress of the moment, another bout of nausea starts to bubble up inside me, making me dizzy. Oh no. Maybe going close to that radioactive machine in the tunnel wasn't a good idea after all. I got poisoned. Damn. It takes all I have not to puke and stay focused on the muzzle in front of me. Please put the gun down. I'm just gonna ask him to put the gun down. "The only way I'm putting this rifle down is after I've blown your brains out," the man says. With that, he sticks the muzzle of the gun in my face. It's a childish move, a playground tactic at best, but it's sufficient to show me that he knows he's in control. Then he levels the rifle at Dennis, and I can only assume it's because his wounds make him appear the weaker of us. The man takes a shaky step forward. Dennis looks back and forth between the barrel of the gun and me, his eyes pleading for help. Before I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, I step in front of Dennis, the barrel of the rifle nearly touching my chest now. Both Dennis and the man seem a little confused at my action, and I do my best to swallow my fear. "I don't know what's going on here," I say, "but we're here by mistake. We have no business being here. But now that the power is on, I think it might be too late anyway." "For what?" I ask. But he doesn't answer me. Instead, he steps forward and actually pushes me backwards with the end of his rifle. The man repeats a question he asked before, the one that makes no sense, and honestly makes me think he's a little bit crazy. "Who are you?" he asks. "You assholes from the Pentagon?" Oh God. You really gonna ask that? I'm not sure how to take this question. Is this guy joking? Yeah, I'm the president. No, what the hell are you talking about? This guy's unstable. I don't think joking with him is the best, but the same idea. No. It's not a good idea to joke with him. Like, because he might just shoot us. So, no, what the hell are you talking about? "No," I say, "we're just loggers. Something blew up and my friend got hurt. We're looking for the rest of our crew." "Likely story," the man asks. I see a flicker of recognition in his face that makes me think he might believe me. Still, his grip on the gun is as tight as ever. The look on his face makes me think he'll shoot at any moment. "You both just stand still," he says. "Sooner or later, someone will come along and I'll turn you over." He again thrusts the gun forward, as if he has an invisible bayonet on it. "There's no need for that," I tell him. I have no guarantee that he won't pull the trigger. "Look," Dennis says, We don't want any trouble. We're just as confused as you are. Then, in a moment so fast that I was just about to miss it, Dennis lunges forward. I have no idea how he's moving so fast. Just 30 seconds ago I was worried about how close to death he looked, but now he's moving lightning fast, his left arm coming down on the barrel of the gun like a club. In the commotion, the man does pull the trigger. The booming noise is deafening, and there is a moment where I think that I've been hit. It takes the clanging noise of the round tearing into the floor at my feet to help me realise that I've not been shot. I look into the floor and see where the shot missed my right leg by less than 3 inches. I'm paralysed in shock for a moment. Dennis and the man fight over possession of the rifle. There's a fire extinguisher in the wall that I could use as a bludgeon, but I might not have enough time to grab it before Dennis is overpowered. Fucking 2 against 1, punch him. Dennis has the man pinned to the floor, but isn't strong enough to keep him down. As I fall to the floor to help, the barrel of the rifle swings right at my face, reminder of how close I'd come to being shot. On my knees now, I deliver a hard, stiff punch to the man's face. I don't often punch. I don't punch someone often. Never, really. I'm not usually the brawling type. Still, it's apparently effective as the man's head snaps back hard and his grip on the gun loosens. Dennis grabs the gun and falls to the floor, clearly winded and in pain. Our attacker is immobilized and I can feel a shift in the situation. Yet, although he's basically harmless now, I feel the need to pummel him, a desire that builds with every second I look at him. No, don't punch him. Yeah, hitting him once is fine, but because he's panicked too. He's definitely out now, no threat, or at least that's what I think. But he surprises me by mustering up one more swift kick in my direction, connecting with my forehead. Oof! My eyelid swells to the size of a grape almost immediately. It seems like this last attack was more to spite me rather than to defend himself. I stumble back and I ready myself for another round of blows, but he just slouches onto the floor. He's done. Dennis instantly hands the rifle over to me, and I take it with shaking hands. Can't believe you stepped between me and that gun, Dennis says. He could have killed you. I was pretty sure he wouldn't, I say. Although I had no such thing. Yeah, exactly. Still, thanks, man. That was some heroic stuff. You would have done the same for me, right? Dennis says nothing. His eyes look at the floor. What do we do now, boss? Dennis asks. We've come this far, and I want answers. I sense that Dennis does too. I take a hard look at the man before I reply. We get answers from this guy. No answers, the man says. I don't have any. Next time, I won't just hit you, I say, plunging the rifle towards him. Now get up! He obeys quickly, but his legs are wobbly and he leans against the wall for support. He can feel my swollen eyelid from where he kicked me earlier. God, that was a hell of a kick. I just hope it doesn't get so bad that it actually affects my sight. Yeah. Okay, let's move, I say, pointing the gun further down the hallway. We've come this far and I'm not going to let this guy stop us. We walk down the hallway until we come to the end. A single elevator waits for us. The steel sliding door is larger than a normal elevator, so it's like a big freight elevator or something. Or I guess not, apparently. That looks like a really regular-sized elevator. Before I get into the elevator with this guy, I think it's wise to learn a bit more about him. I can tell it's making him uncomfortable for me to have the gun. So what's your name? I ask. Marcus. Oh, hello, Marcus. Do you work here? It's clear that he doesn't want to answer, but he gives a little nod. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Any idea where they might be? He asks. No, he says curtly, not bothering to elaborate. There's got to be some useful info we can get out of this guy. Just need to know how to dig for it. I need a first aid kit for my friend here, I say. Where might we find one? Down on the second floor, he says, but we can't go down there. We're going down there, okay? Or what's on level 2? Ooh. Yeah, you've got to question why we can't go down there. He looks at me like I'm an idiot. You must be aware you're inside of a classified government facility, he says. It makes sense, but I want to doubt it. Well, I'm sure our government would want you to help save my friend, so take me to that first aid kit. I can't, he says. You don't have clearance. Hell, I barely have clearance. Oh, jeez, this kid. Then, seemingly to himself, he mutters, I make this place run. Not even a thank you, just a bunch of restricted access rooms I'm only allowed to go into with a frickin' chaperone. Okay. This guy's severely... Whatever. I interrupt his monologue. We're going to that first aid kit. I could lose my job, he says. I wonder for a moment what sort of trouble I could get in for hitting a government employee. Makes me glad I took it easy on him. Then again, he had come at us with a rifle. It makes me think that things have gone terribly wrong with this place, and the explosion in the woods, or whatever the hell happened, might be linked to it all. I need to convince him to take us to the second floor, but I'm not sure if it would be more productive to threaten him or ask for sympathy. Oh no. It's in my nature. Look, I say, it hasn't been the best day. We're just trying to find out what's going on, to find my crew, and survive. I know that this isn't a normal situation down here. It looks like all your protocols have been blown to hell. Can you just help us out? He looks sternly, weighing his options. Okay, he says. Thank you, I say. With an untrusting stare, Marcus walks into the elevator, approaching a small keypad by the doors. He punches in a numeral code into the keypad. We can hear a slight mechanical hum behind the steel doors. After a few seconds of angry glances and frightened sneers from Marcus, the elevator arrives. The steel doors slide open with a whisper, revealing the interior. Ooh, this is just getting worse. Oh, I'm so terrified. Between one crew member's dead, a strange light, weird holes being dug in the ground, falling into a weird hole, hearing weird things, radiation poisoning, an entity, abnormal entity breach, teleporting crickets, weird chemicals, secret government facilities. Nothing's good about this place. Sympathy, threats never get anything done. Yeah, exactly. I went with sympathy, because threats do get stuff done in some situations. Some people take kindly, or some people take more out of negative feedback rather than positive feedback. You've just got to figure out which one's which. For some people, like, do this or else is how you get it done. Whereas for other people, it's, just help us out, or even the reward, positive feedback of do this and you'll get this. Then that's where they get it. But negative feedback, either side that you pick, if you don't follow through, you lose all control over it anyway. So it's like, if you have do this or else, and then they don't do it, but then you don't do it, then, well, there's no bloody point. They called your bluff, and they got away on the upper hand. Whereas if you, if you say do this or I'll shoot you, and they say no, so you shoot them, well, I mean, they're not gonna not do what you say. Oh, this looks like an elevator from Men in Black. It's exceptionally well lit, and it's made of stainless steel. I half expect the thing to take off at the speed of light. Yeah, exactly. There's another small keypad in the front right wall panel with the options for 3 sub-level floors. It looks like this elevator doesn't go to the surface. So after we get a first aid kit for Dennis, how do we get out of here? He says, "We can't leave," Marcus says. "Once the power came back on, the whole place was put into lockdown." "What?" I shout. "Can't you override it?" "No, it's to prevent anything from getting out. I can't." Marcus looks as defeated as Dennis. So we can't get out. We're stuck down here." Dennis leans into the corner and almost falls onto the floor. The struggle for the rifle took a lot out of him. I can see that much on his face. Slowly we start to move down. The hum and grind of the car's motors fill the space. "What can you do? Or so we're stuck down here forever?" Ooh. Again, shouting at him and degrading him in his current state. He seems like a reasonable person. Like, he accepted the sympathy card. He was a bit of a dick before when he had the gun, but that might have been just the gun boasting his confidence, because that's what guns do. When you have the weapon in your hand, you tend to be cockier and more domineering, sorry. But I feel like he's young. Yeah, so getting in his face isn't going to help. I've already punched him once. Marcus scowls at him. Marcus scowls at me. I think it's a fair question. It doesn't seem unreasonable to assume that he won't be able to get us out. We'll find somebody with the access code. They'll be begging me to figure out how to lift the lockdown. These people think they're so brilliant, but some of them can barely turn their computers on without help. The top coder in my class at MIT, the top coder of my class at MIT, and I'm stuck living underground, helping idiots who don't even trust me with keys. How big is this place, or what goes on here? He's not gonna tell me what goes on here. I've already tried, so how big is this place? It's a government facility of the highest secrecy, he says. A research facility. It goes down 4 stories underground, and, quite frankly, it scares the piss out of me that you two got in here so easily. Why is that? I ask. This is Black Ops graveyard, he replies. Even the CIA doesn't know this place exists. So, what's your job? I handle the IT work and make sure that the databases are up and running. It's a 24/7 job. I haven't seen sunlight in almost a year. I wonder what staying in a place like this for that long could do to someone's mind. I was recruited, he continues. Because of the workload, no one else wants this job, but I don't really mind being by myself. No family. Plus, the IT, it's some crazy shit. Crazy how, I ask. This place generates over 100 terabytes of data per day, he answers, getting the slightest bit excited before his face falls again. What happened here? Some sort of power outage, Marcus says. That's all I know. There was an outage, and then what? Then what? Dennis asks weakly. Then things got weird. Things got bad. Bad how? I ask. The whole place seemed to shake when the lights went out. I was checking the monitors, and then it happened. Everything went dead. It took no more than a minute or so. I started hearing the screams. People were being killed by something. I tried getting the security cameras working again, but they only lasted for a little bit on my backup systems. That's when I saw. What? I ask, feeling a sharp fear worm its way into my guts. Well, what I saw on the screens for that little bit Made no sense. It made me get the gun from the emergency vault. I think whatever it is, it's still down there. Hold on. There's an emergency vault with a rifle in the same room as the security cameras in this place? Marcus gives me a grin that was nearly insane. There are guns locked away in every room in this place, just in case, you know. No, I don't know. Marcus, tell me. Case of what? He opens his mouth to answer. The elevator comes to a stop and the doors slide open. Marcus is out right away without a word. He makes his exit and heads directly for a glassed-in room that's filled with computer monitors and high-end equipment. Dennis and I file out behind him, trying to keep up. As we do, the very alarming question runs through my head. What the hell kind of government facility keeps loaded guns in emergency vaults in every single room? The kind that is doing some pretty shady testing. End of chapter 2. Ooh. Now I know there's 5 chapters to this. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna get through all of it today. I might have to do another stream on this because I don't want to go on for too long. But I might have to cut it in half at some point. Maybe I'll go to the end of chapter 3 and let 4 and 5 get really weird. I know things are going to get a lot weirder. I mean, already I've fucked my shit up. I've banged my head, my knee hurts, I've got radiation poisoning. 61% of players looked at the glowing reactor. Sure. 64% of players stepped in front of Dennis. Okay. 65% of players were easy on Marcus. Okay. I'm okay with that. I might not have been in the majority on the first chapter, but on this second chapter, I've got the friends. So I'm very glad about that. Begin chapter 3. Here we go. Ooh, this place doesn't look nice. This place does not look nice. We follow Marcus into what I can only describe as a control room of sorts. There are countless computer screams. Screams? Computer screams. Some of which are obviously coming back on from having been shut off. Everything looks extremely complicated. Screams... Why can't I N? From screens filled with code and data to what is obviously a security system. It reminds me of a miniaturized version of the Operations Center in just about every space travel movie I've ever seen. Marcus is running from one screen to another, apparently looking for some pertinent bit of information. Where's the first aid kit? I snap at him. Marcus stops in his tracks, as if he'd forgotten the whole reason for bringing us down here. Oh yeah, he says, rushing to the left side of the room. He hunkers down and opens up a panel in the wall to what I assume is the emergency vault from where he got the rifle. I'm gonna keep an eye on him. I peer over at Marcus's shoulder into the vault that's opened. It's much larger than it looks from the outside. It's partially filled with file folders marked classified, and a few rounds of ammo for the rifle. A peculiar plastic kit filled with syringes and a locked black box. As Marcus digs around, one of the folders slips open. For a split second, it's open. I see a scanned document and a colour photo. The photo shows a male corpse with its guts on the outside of its body, as if it has been turned inside out. There's also massive swelling on his head, almost like his skull was about to explode. Marcus slaps the folder closed, and then I turn my attention to one of the syringes. It's filled with a violet-coloured fluid that, while rather pretty in colour, looks deadly. Marcus finally pulls out the first aid kit and turns around. When I look back to motion Dennis over, he's paler than ever. Come on, I tell him, but he's not moving from the place on the floor where he sits against the wall. I slide the first aid kit over to him and go scrambling to his side. Between the struggle for the rifle upstairs and arriving in this room, he's faded fast. I struggle to lift his shirt up over his shoulders, as the dried blood holds it in place. God, what am I? The mere act causes him to grimace. This might hurt a little, I tell Dennis. He only nods. He doesn't seem to care. Pull it off gently. You don't want to risk enlarging the wound. I had to pull it off gently. I lift the shirt gently and it makes a sucking sound. There's so much blood that the moisture tries to keep the shirt pulled onto him. Dennis lets out a little moan, but seems to relax in spite of his injuries. With the shirt fully removed, the extent of his injuries becomes more clear. His wound is more visible now, although it's partially hidden by the blood that has started to clot around it. My medical knowledge is slim, basically a bunch of basics that I learned in Boy Scouts. I look over to Marcus, hopefully, and ask, "Do you have any training?" "Zero," he says. "Sorry." "Damn it." It's just as well, I guess. Too bad my real life bloody first aid doesn't come in to help here. He's far too concerned with what's happening on the monitors to be much of a help anyway. Start by taking out several rolls of gauze within the kit and wipe as much of the blood away from the wound on his side. It's even worse than I figured from the start. The gash is deep and dark. I'm pretty sure it's infected too. He's going to need stitches, and that's for sure, but I have no idea how to even start that. Besides, I don't see the tools for it in the kit. When I splash rubbing alcohol over the wound, he responds with a hoarse yelp in surprise, but nothing more. His eyes are locked onto me, and he looks sort of appreciative, but he's also scared. "Be honest," Dennis says hopefully. "How bad does it look? You think I'll live?" Regardless of the situation, you keep the patient calm. "Good to know," he says, "because I sure as hell don't feel like that." You've been through hell," I say. "I think it feels far worse than it actually look." "Thanks, that's a relief." "I won't lie, you're gonna have a scar," I say, trying to be funny. He chuckles a bit, but there's no humour in it. He rests his head against the wall and closes his eyes as I finish up. Place one layer of gauze over the wound and bind it with medical tape, then reinforce it with a second layer. I know it's meager, but it's all I can do. "Thanks, Roger," he says, actually managing to force out a smile. "I feel a lot better. I think I'll be fine." Oh, Jesus. Damn it, Dennis. I'm not sure about that, but I'm glad I was able to encourage him. Finally, I patch up the bruises on my head a bit, cursing myself again for not grabbing my hard hat. Come on, man. I look back to Marcus, and he's looking back at us, deep in thought. My eye is starting to really swell up from where he kicked me earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have let him off so easily. Are these first aid kits all you have in this facility? If there's something better, I don't know about it, he says. I noticed that his defensive posture is no longer there. Something is different now. Just a slight change in his demeanor. I don't trust that. He's seen something on those monitors that has him frightened more than he already was before. "What is it?" I ask. "What's wrong?" His eyes travel around the room. It's obvious that he's trying to decide whether or not to tell the truth. Come on, spit it out. Just what the hell is going on here? I ask, not even really sure I want to know the answer. His defiant gaze tells me that he's not going to be of any help, so I decide to look around myself. After a few moments, I see things that even I can comprehend hidden in the complex information in most screens. On the screens, I see what looks like a power meter that's slowly climbing upwards. A single message is flashing beneath it. It reads, "Unexpected power failure, foreign entity." Another message is trickling along the bottom of a black screen that says, "Safety locks on level 3, containment doors engaged. Override?" I see still scenes on a few screens that I assume that are the security cameras showing hallways and passages from elsewhere in the facility. I know one of them shows the first level hallway we were on just a few minutes ago. Another shows a hallway I don't recognize. The floor is covered in blood. From just off the screen, I see what I think might be a human body, but it's bent in an impossible way. It looks like there's bodies, legs, and torsos have. It looks like the body's legs and torsos have somehow been merged or melted into the floor. Ooh. What's wrong with the systems, or what happened to that person there? Oh, this game is terrifying. What's wrong with the systems? This place has backups for its backups, Marcus says. It's not ever supposed to suffer a full electrical shutdown. And what does foreign entity mean? I ask, hoping for a sane answer. I have no idea. But that keeps coming off and on. Whatever it is, it keeps entering and exiting to set off the sensors. What the hell? I ask. Is something still happening? We're still in danger? He turns away, clearly fearing that he's already said too much. As bad as that is, there's a scene on another monitor that makes my blood go cold. And my fear spiked to levels somewhere near terror. The scene is very familiar. It's the logging site. The equipment, unmistakably mine. I can even see my truck. Something like fury starts to rise up in my guts, momentarily pushing aside the fear. For a moment, I considered just tearing into him, a few punches and a shove against the wall. Nothing more. I want answers. I want to know now. But I'm not sure which would provide more answers, asking him calmly or kicking his ass. There's no point in attacking him now. Could you please explain to me why you've been spying on my crew? My anger is prodding at me, and I have to hold it back again. It's near the surface, demanding release. It was part of my job, mine and a few others. Your crew has been watched ever since you set up your equipment. Why? Because you're working with heavy equipment, some of which digs into the ground, less than a mile from a secret government facility. I had no idea of that, I say. How could I have known? Marcus gives me the same crooked, trembling smile. It's beginning to creep me out. Because those things... how could I have known? Because those things would draw attention to this place, he says. You have no idea how secret this facility is. Besides, I know that the higher-ups looked into it. Your site isn't on government land. It's shy by about 300 yards. Every piece of your equipment is on private property. The timber track that you purchased from Mr. Gladstone 2 months ago. So, even if we wanted to intervene and keep your crew away, we couldn't without stirring up a fuss. The fact that someone with such a low-level clearance knows this much about my logging crew is unnerving. If you've been watching us, why didn't you recognize us when we met in the hallway? He shakes his head and exhales like it's obvious. The cameras have a bird's eye view. I can't see faces. We just track the bodies and names. So where the hell is my crew? Or, ask calmly. Oh, this is where things get complicated. No, I feel like I would get mad at this point because he's clearly been tracking us. He knows that there's 5 people on the crew. He knows that we're looking for the crew. He knows about the logging crew. So I'm gonna shout at him. Look, Marcus, all of you. Look, Marcus says. All of you were on site as usual before the incident. It had been a few hours since I had checked, though. I can tell he is starting to get rattled by this interrogation. He continues with his eyes fixed on the keyboard. They might have come near the facility, or maybe not. I don't know. I'd tell you if I did, okay? Well, are they inside the facility? I shout. You have cameras everywhere, right? Look for them. Marcus puts his hands up defensively. I've been looking all over. I haven't seen your crew. But, he adds, the lower levels don't have any cameras. Classified. I'm not sure how they would have gotten down there, but it's a possibility. I'm still shocked that we were being watched. Do they know everything about us? I'm telling you, Marcus says, the depth of influence in this facility goes deep. There are 36 employees down here. Outside of those employees, only 5 other people know this place exists. Ask calmly. What do all those people do down here? Keep my voice level. Doesn't even pause to consider if he should go any further, and actually laughs when he gives the answer. Honestly, I don't know everything. Probably very little. But what I do know is that it is more than Black Ops. What does that mean? There are scientists here that have been disowned by their own governments because of the nature of their work. Get it now? I don't. Not at all. But I don't want him to know that. You said there was 36 employees? Where are they now? He shakes his head. As far as I know, everyone else is gone. Gone where? He points at the screen that still informs us unexpected power failure and cringes. If this power failure was not corrected in time, there's no telling. But they're here in the facility somewhere, right? I ask, hoping someone will be able to help Dennis better than I can. I just don't know, Marcus says. They could be anywhere. He sounds like Connor. I'm Connor. Sent by Cyberlife. Look, I say, furious with... Wait. He is talking riddles. I don't... Ugh, God, Dennis says. I look over at him and he's pale as a ghost. He's stood up and his eyes are locked on the monitor closest to him. What? I ask. He simply points at the monitor and then looks away. I look at the monitor and I see the logging site, but more specifically, I see the overturned dozer with the legs sticking out from under it, wearing work boots, right there where I left him. Tony. The fact that his death seems abstract, almost like it happened in some other world or very long ago. Jeez. I know that you already told me he was gone, Dennis whispers, but it's different actually seeing him. My God. Suddenly, something blazes by the open door outside. The shape is fast in a shadow, and I'm pretty sure it's a person. Someone else is here, Marcus says, wheeling around. He sounds very happy to discover this, so I try and follow his lead. If something bad happened at this facility, then surely the sight of another survivor is a good thing, right? We should check it out, he says. I realize this isn't the best moment to leave Dennis after revisiting Tony's death and all over again. Someone just ran by the door, I tell him. Hopefully it's someone who can help us. You going to be okay? It's fine. Go see who it is, he says, giving me a mock thumbs up. I turn to Marcus and motion for us to head out and investigate. Let's be careful, Marcus says. Depending on who it is, they might not be as hesitant to shoot a stranger as I was. I nod at him and head for the door. I'm still holding the rifle in my hand. I don't know if I have the guts to actually use it if needed. With the final look back at Dennis, I run into the second level hallway. Oh, this is getting so terrifying and creepy. I love it. I don't like actual horror games, but I'm enjoying this. Marcus follows. There is still fear in his eyes, but also the slightest glimmer of hope. That hope is contagious. We take off after the figure that just ran past the command center. Ahead of us, the facility presents yet another long hallway. Right away, I notice that this level of the facility seems darker, even though the lights are all on now. The hallway is adorned with numbered yellow doorways. A large white panel is along the walls. It's clean and well maintained, but there's something ominous about it. Up ahead, I see the fleeting motion of something dark cutting quickly to the left, down a corridor. There, I say quietly, pointing up ahead. Marcus gives me a nod and we continue chasing after the person we saw blaze by the command center just moments ago. Then it occurs to me that this person could be like Marcus at first, armed and scared. Shout at them or move towards them slowly. Ooh. Every choice feels like it's important in this. Like, every single choice feels like it could change everything. I think this floor is okay, so... Ooh, we know there's something in the facility because we've seen the mangled corpses on the cameras. We know... If we approach slowly, they might get startled and shoot us if they have a gun. If we shout at them, they might freak out and shoot at us if they have a gun. And it really just alerts them to our presence before we have the chance to maybe figure out what they're doing. But if we move slowly, we might lose them. Ooh, I don't know. I've done enough shouting. I've called out for help like 3 times already, so... when we reach the intersection of the hallway, I'd seen the shadow moving. I ease around the corner just in case. Sure, I have the rifle in my hands, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. I quickly dart around the corner and take the same shooting stance I've seen it countless times on TV. There's a woman standing there, about 10 feet away. She has reddish blonde hair and a small, mousy build. Mousy build? Oh, she's a little girl. She looks terrified and is visibly shaking. She's probably in her late 30s, wearing a lab coat, dark jeans, and a green Converse low tops. Hell yeah, Converse. I have a strange sense that her fear is not about our sudden appearance. She looks like a woman who's been running scared for a while now. Her hands are raised in surrender. She's not holding a weapon. Marcus slowly approaches, takes a few steps ahead of me. It's Amy, right? She blinks, surprised. Yes, she says. I can't do a girl voice, and I'm not going to do a girl voice. And you're Mark. Marcus. She nods absently, and then looks to my rifle. I'm not going to use it. How do I know that? She asks. Oh god. You're trespassing on government property in the midst of a huge catastrophic event, and you have a rifle. How am I supposed to believe you? I have a friend back at command center in need of medical attention, I say, and we're looking for the rest of our crew. I'm really sorry, but I don't know where they are, she says. Do you know what happened? Marcus asks. From the power outage? I don't know what caused it, she says, but there was an experiment taking place. When the outage occurred, something happened and she trails off, giving me a look of distrust. I saw things on the security monitors, Marcus says. The experiment failed, didn't it? I don't know the specifics. I barely escaped the 3rd floor. I was going to... I was going to go to the command center to see if the security footage showed anything, then I saw you and the gun. Listening to their conversation, I'm feeling totally in the dark. What has you so scared? What experiments? What has you so scared? It's the secret government's facility. We're not going to get to know about the experiments. And nobody cares. We don't care. Amy looks to her, her eyes wide and terrified. Who are you, anyway? I quickly give her my story, a logger stranded in the woods, following a peculiar explosion at the logging site. As I tell her, recognition blooms in her eyes. You're one of the loggers? Yes. She turns and looks at Marcus. I thought they were being watched. They were, Marcus says. It's a freak accident. There's no proof that they were responsible. I feel myself wanting to submit to all of these questions that are piling up in my head, but Dennis is waiting for me. Medical help for Dennis. We gotta save our boy. I decide that despite my curiosity, I need to get Dennis help as soon as humanly possible. Look, is there any medical help that we can get here or not? Probably, Amy says. You'd have to find Colonel Barksdale. What a name. He knows where all sorts of supplies are. Where is he? Where is everyone else? I ask. At this, Amy starts to weep. She falls to the floor as if, drink! Thank you, Hydrate Bot. As if someone struck her from behind. Gone, she says. Some were killed. Some were just... I don't know. They disappeared right in front of me. What the hell is going on here? Disappeared? What the hell is going on here? I feel like it doesn't particularly matter, that choice. Something is here with us, she said. We were conducting an experiment and it went horribly wrong. Something came through. Came through what? Marcus asks. I don't even know that much. An entity. But whatever it is, it's still here somewhere. How could you not know? Don't you have full security access? No, I have access to almost everything, but there are 2 levels of security beyond my clearance. So, what do you suggest we do now? I'm not sure, she says, wiping her tears away. But if you want to find your crew, we need to find Barksdale. He's in charge. Where is he? I ask. Down on the 3rd level, in the hangar. Then let's go, I say. It's not that easy, Amy says again, looking at the rifle in my hands. Why not? Like I said, something came through, and when the power went out, there's several of them, all roaming the 3rd level. What came through? All I know is the others refer to them as entities. Amy shudders as she recalls the horrors she's seen. Don't even know how to describe them. I didn't get a good look, she says. All I did was run for my life, but behind me I just heard screams. I know it's not very scientific of me, but I didn't feel like sticking around to learn more. She's right, Marcus says, stopping my train of thought. The things I saw on the monitors, it was crazy. This is insane, I bark. I'm going to the 3rd level to find this Barksdale guy. Thanks for your help. Wait, Marcus says. I'm sticking with you. If we want to get out of here, we have to find Barksdale, right? Yes, Amy says. But Barksdale's on the 3rd floor, and it's too dangerous to go back there. Figure I'll let them make their own decisions. In the meantime, I start heading back to the command center to get Dennis. Before I get there, I hear their footfalls behind me, getting closer. I give Amy a questioning look. She quickly looks away, clearly torn. Neither one of you knows your way around here, she says. Looking for Barksdale on your own would be suicide. Like it or not, she has a point. Fine, I say. Then let's get Dennis from the command center. We'll head down together. Oof. Things are getting weird. Things are getting weird. Oh god, things are getting absolutely terrifying. We enter the command center, and I'm happy to see that Dennis has regained some of his color. We're going to get you some help, I tell him. Then we're going to find our crew and get the hell out of here. More help would be great, he says. With the way you took an hour to get my shirt off earlier, I'm not letting you touch me again. Oh, come on. Wait, Amy says. Maybe one of us should stay here with him. I'll be okay, Dennis says, and stands to his feet with a grunt. You don't know what's out there, Amy says. I saw them. I saw what they can do. This facility is not safe. Are there any of them on this floor? I'm not sure, she says, but they are down on the 3rd floor, so we'll need to be careful. Marcus looks a little hesitant, and nods in agreement, and the 4 of us exit the command center. Hey, we've got a whole team. 4 people. Lovely. Heading back into the hallway, I look back to the monitors. Took a final screen that shows the wrecked logging site, and I feel a pang of sorrow. Then I look at the other monitors, showing live feeds of the facility's security cameras. I try to tell myself that I'm not looking for any signs of Amy's creatures, but I can't. That's exactly what I'm doing, and there's no need to pretend otherwise. We head through the hall and towards the elevator. The tension exists between us is like a physical presence. Jesus. Oh, back on the elevator. Step inside the elevator, and those pristine doors close. Inside the elevator, Amy seems to become much more guarded and distant from us. I want to assure her that I mean her no harm, but I'm also not going to put the rifle down. So, you have a pretty high clearance in this place, right? That's right. What kind of experiment are we talking about? What went wrong? She starts to answer my question. I can tell that it's something of a relief for her to get it off her chest. There's a lot of work on a project taking place over the last 3 years or so. The purpose is to find out if there's any real viable science behind point-to-point instantiation? Wait, what? Instantation. Like teleporting? I ask. Oh my god. I had no idea. I knew there was some weird stuff here, but nothing this insane. Well, we did see a teleporting cricket, so... It's not really that insane, Amy says. We found our first major breakthrough about 9 months ago. We were able to transport a live rat from its cage on level 3 to a small lab in New Mexico. The trip took the rat 5 seconds. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Dennis says. I can tell that he wants to sound off as if he's mocking the idea, but he fails. He is scared. Not at all, Amy says. The problem is that when the rat arrived, its retinas were detached, and its intestines were on the outside of its body. Alexis Starshow. What? You've been live for 2 minutes. I should have consumed at least 8 ounces of Doritos? What? I mean, 2 minutes? I've been going for 2 hours. You got the number wrong, buddy. But I did eat a packet earlier, so I'm okay. Thank you, but I'm okay. I'll stick with my water and my lemonade. So they have teleportation, but it turns you inside out. If you get teleported and then very quickly get teleported again, would you die? You're basically getting turned inside out and then back outside in. in a very small time frame. Like, if you got teleported whatever the distance is, and then teleported like a meter to the left, would you could you potentially survive if the swap was fast enough? Oh, but its retinas were detached, so you're not going to have any eyes. You're still going to go blind. What does that have to do with us now? Did you ever perfect it? No, I don't want to know. Well, about 6 months ago, we successfully made that same experiment. The rat arrived in great health, and this time, in just 3 seconds. Still, one of the things that we needed to tweak in order to make the process completely safe was to figure out how to keep the subject on a straight course. When the matter is being transported, not only are its atoms being unknit and then put back together on arrival. Unknit? Yes, deconstructed and translated through space. It's the only way we know how to do it right now. But the issue, as I said, comes in keeping the deconstructed subject on a straight course towards its destination. When this process occurs, we are deforming space-time. We are creating a shortcut through space. That has its risks. What exactly? Dennis asks. Because there are many more dimensions in space than the 3 we exist on, she explains. There's some evidence that there might be as many as 10. Jesus. So, when you send that rat to New Mexico, it's traveling through another dimension to get there? Basically. And because of that, we're trying to get a better understanding of what those other dimensions are capable of. Things that a great deal of the population would be scared of if they knew what we were doing, hence all the privacy. Then today the power went out as we were right in the middle of an experiment. Something happened. What? I don't know. She's speaking with the authority of someone who knows what she's talking about. Yeah, well, of course. Is that why those creatures are here? What have you seen in the other dimensions? Take your brain to another dimension. Is that why those creatures are here? I guess? It's my assumption, she says. I wasn't present for the experiment. I'm not cleared for such things, but I do get the reports. What reports? What reports? Marcus asks. I'm given access to the results of the tests. In other words, Marcus replies, clearly unset, you guys have been peeking into other dimensions and taking notes on what you see. Can't believe I've wasted my life for this, he murmurs to himself. Looks like he's starting to freak out. Amy is quiet. Her expression indicates that she's still waiting to see how I react to all of this. That's insane. It's incredible, but insane. You were impressed by Amy's work. I mean, yeah, sure. So this is like interdimensional stuff, I ask? In a way. Marcus, on the other hand, is incredulous. I don't want anything to do with this, he says. All this time, I've been working for... He laughs cruelly at the sound, and the sound of it makes my blood go cold for a moment. Just a single level beneath my feet, you assholes have been tearing apart space and time, Marcus continues. When the elevator doors open, I can't get out fast enough. The tension is growing way too thick for my liking. Outside of the elevator, we step into what appears to be a massive industrial area. The carnage waiting for me is unlike anything I've ever seen on the upper levels. Ugh. It's getting warm in my room, Jesus. Okay. What does... Oh god, this is straight out of Saw or something. Jesus Christ. Oh, don't tell me. Wait, what's with that distortion going on in the roof? The area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only. But more noticeable than that is all of the blood. My god, I've never seen so much blood. Those creatures must have had a field day. Holy shit, Marcus says, looking like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There were more personnel in this area when the experiment went haywire. Amy says, as if the explanation was... Yeah, as if the explanation makes it any better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. We have to get moving or else we're gonna lose our nerve. Amy, let's focus. Barksdale is in the hangar? If he's still alive, yes, that's where he'll be. Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Dennis is doing much better, but I'm beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood on the floor and the silence of level 3, Amy's talk of the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. We don't know where we're going, but at the same time, we also have a gun. But again, we don't know where we're going, but she's gonna tell us, so I'll go first, you stay behind me. Before start walking ahead, with me in the lead, we stop when we come to the remains of what looked like 3 different people. It's hard to tell how many bodies were there because they had all been torn to shreds and are distorted. 2 of the bodies look like they've been fused together. Another man looks to have his leg welded through the floor. I can't see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror. Oh, I can see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror. His mouth pried open in an eternal scream. Investigate the bodies or keep moving? Keep moving. Fuck this shit, I'm out. It's simply too much, worse than the fact that we've just started our journey through level 3. If there were worse waiting up ahead, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Dennis steps up behind me and he speaks, his voice soft and flat. What the hell could do that to someone? He asks. The things I saw, Amy answered. They could do it pretty easily, I think. She looks pale, and I think that she may pass out at any moment. Tears spill from her eyes as she's visibly shaking. But she soldiers on, looking back to me and stepping to the side of some carnage. Oh, Jesus. Her eyes again go to my rifle, but she doesn't look very hopeful. You good to go? She asks me. We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind is reeling, trying to process it all. Yeah, let's go. We leave the grisly site behind, moving to another equally distorted area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't just been destroyed, it's been physically altered in a way that makes no sense. Girders look like they've been warped, their very materials distorted and twisted. To my right, a machine has been catapulted and looks to have merged with the wall rather than crashing into it. Ugh. Beyond these phenomena, there is the standard violence of what I was expecting to see. There is a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage, and more blood. I see no signs of an explosion, which makes me wonder just what happened, just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening enough, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening. Did you see what happened to those girders? Did you see how these people died? I'm more interested in the girders, to be honest. I only caught a glimpse of it, she says. It was like trying to focus your eyes on something that was too close. They just started twisting, not creaking or breaking. It's like these creatures are able to deform matter. She pauses, and that's when we hear something echo through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds like static from an AM radio, but there's a high-pitched noise beneath it that I can't even start to fathom. What the hell is that? I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears. One of them, she says, her voice in a whisper. One of the creatures. That's what they sound like? Dennis asks. I see that he's leaning against the wall again, wincing from the noise. I suddenly realize that I have a death grip on the rifle, ready to shoot at the next thing I see. How far away do you think they are? Anything between us and them? How far away do you think they are? About 100 meters, she answers. Not far. Great, so we've got feet and meters in this game. Lovely. Everyone seems to take this as a cue to start moving again. We make our way around the office wreckage, now with new purpose in our step. We briefly make it to the other side of the room. Or we barely make it to the other side of the room, reaching a dark hallway when another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one louder, closer. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell that Amy is on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly and I head towards the hallway in front of us. How much further can it kill these things? How much further to the hangar? Close, she says. It's at the end of this hallway. Dennis speaks up, his voice. Why don't we just haul ass then, huh? No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us, pressing in like some new violent gravity. Oh, Jesus. The blood dripping from that pipe is not comforting. And the ceiling. Oh, God. The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area, I ask. I'm looking at Marcus as I ask the question, but he only shrugs in response. She might know, he replies, pointing at Amy. I've never been down here before. It's just a utility hallway, Amy says. But at the end there's a maintenance room. There should be a gun or two in there. It also looks like the most direct path. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance. As we walk quickly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead and feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spaced, and it's impossible to see just how far the hallway extends into the darkness. This hallway has the occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main area where we've come from. We continue farther down, and just as I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead, I hear yet another shrill sound. This one sounds farther away, but no less demonic. How many of these things did you see? Dennis asks Amy. 3, but that's just what I saw. There could be more. What did they look like? There's no sense in not talking about what we're dealing with, so... I don't even know how to explain them. Monsters is the only word I can think of to my mind. Seems to struggle trying to understand what I was saying. They're big. They're big and seem to jerk around every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light, but that's all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my work kill me, she continues, seemingly unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still. Damn it. As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out, angrier now. Amy stops walking, causing all of us to stop and turn with her. We have to do something to slow these things down, she says. No, Marcus snaps. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves and get to the hangar, fast. Amy ignores him. deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set into the wall, right here. She says, it hasn't been used for years, though. She looks up to me. She looks to me, pleading. Together we might be able to pull it close behind us to keep those things back. Those old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work. Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a harder time getting to us if these doors are locked. Look, Marcus shouts, turning to me. We need to get to the hangar now! Oh, yeah. I feel like if they can distort matter and they're made of light, I don't think, like, our only descriptions is that they're big, they're hard to focus on, they distort matter, and they look like they're made of light. I don't feel like having a door in the way is going to help, because they could just distort the matter of the door and go through it. But at the same time, it might be a gradual distortion, so the door might help, and if they're made of light, maybe they have a harder time going through solid objects. Oh, I don't know. Because there might be more ahead, and Marcus has just shouted, so they might be coming towards us as well. We're gonna close the doors. Decided to try to close the doors. Damn it, Marcus says. We don't have time for this. Amy ignores him and starts feeling along the hallway for a groove. Dennis and I start looking as well. A minute passes and I see a small metal frame that runs from the door to the ceiling. Is that it? I ask. Yes, Amy says. I look to the floor and see an old metal track that runs along the frame. Let's try and move it, I say. Amy, Dennis, and I start pulling as hard as we can, but it barely budges an inch. Behind us, that static noise rings out again. My heart seems to stutter, and Marcus lets out a little whine. We're running out of time. We need to go, Marcus screams. Those things are getting closer every second. This isn't working. Oh god. Amy was great. Now let's haul ass, says Marcus. Oh god, I feel like that was a bad choice. We all in turn start moving again, feeling unsure about our prospects. The fact that yet another shrill noise sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. And there are two of them. It's almost like they're calling out to one another. The doors in the hangar sit up ahead. Entrance seems like an enormous labyrinth. I feel fucking... we reach the hangar doors to get a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall nearby and is blinking red light. Amy, any idea what this means? It's an automatic lock. A failsafe from the lockdown, Amy says. I've never been down here before. If I had known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks, in fear, her voice more present than ever. From the command center, he says. You need to override it from there first, then use this terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center is on the second floor, I ask? Yeah. Amy shakes her head and let out a nervous laugh. Do you hear those things? They ask. There's no way in hell I'm going back towards them through that small hallway. If we want to get into the hangar, we have to get back to the... We want to get into the hangar, we have to get back to the command center, Marcus asks. There isn't another way. Oh, isn't there another way? Turning to Marcus, Amy replies, well, there is another elevator, but we'll need to go through the biochem storage. I need to stay with Dennis so he can rest, I say. You should go. You know your way around this place, and you know the controls, Marcus. Fine, Marcus says. But we'll need to be armed. Ooh. Oh, I don't know. I hand the rifle to Amy, and she turns to go. Marcus gives me a concerned look, but follows along behind her. Once Amy and Marcus make good distance down the hallway, Dennis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Dennis looks much better, but he still needs to use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy said that there were guns and emergency kits in the maintenance room near the hangar doors? I ask. Yeah, I think so, Dennis says, looking exhausted. I look ahead and see a door to my right. Door to the right that reads maintenance. Might as well give it a try. I gotta open the door and find that it's locked. Shoot with your shoulder. Give a hard shove, but it doesn't budge. I'm about to try again, but that's when I hear gunshots from just down the hallway. My first thought is that Amy and Marcus have come across one of those things, one of the monsters. But I didn't hear any strange static sound that I've come to associate with them. Alarm bells go off, and in my head, before I know it, I'm heading back down the hallway, away from the hangar doors. Stay here and I'll be right back, I whisper over my shoulders to Dennis. See if you can figure out how to get into that maintenance room. Where are you going? He asks. I didn't bother answering him. I bound through the door where Amy and Marcus went. Oh, this place looks pleasant. I like this place. As I enter the biochem room, I start walking between the massive silos. I wonder what classified chemicals could be inside them. I'm fully expecting one of Amy's creatures to come flying out from the intersection of the holes up ahead. I think I overhear a voice, a woman's voice. It's Amy. Stop! Let go of the gun! I run ahead so fast I almost trip over two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I'm seeing, but it makes no sense, none at all. Marcus is wrestling with Amy, trying to take her gun away. When this doesn't work, he throws her to the ground and starts choking her. Her face is turning purple. Her eyes look like they might pop out of her head. Marcus sees me coming out of the hallway, but acts as if what he's doing is perfectly normal. Stop him! I start running towards him, but before I really know what I'm doing, I bring my fist down hard across the arc of his nose, rewarded with a sick cracking sound. Broken nose. He cries out and falls to the ground, looking at me as if he doesn't understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches at her neck and gasps for breath. I start to fear that I was a moment too late, and then I see the rifle thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this at the exact moment. What do? Go for the rifle. We both go for the rifle at once. He takes a single stumbling step towards it, wobbling a bit from my punch. I dive for it. When I hit the floor, it feels like I'm a baseball player trying to steal third. Our hands both fall onto it, but when I yank it away, he manages to kick me, knocking the rifle to the floor again. The kick catches me squarely in the ribs, knocking the breath out of me. What the hell are you doing? He yells at me. By killing her, I'm saving all of us. It was all her fault. Killing her doesn't help. I sense that he truly believes this, but if that's the case, then why not attack her? Why not attack her when we were just together? The answer is simple. We might have stopped him. He wanted to kill her in private. And then what? What would he have done the same to Dennis and me? It seems fitting, really. We first came upon Marcus and he held a gun on us. I'd been so relieved to see another human being that I had underestimated just how unhinged he was. Marcus and I both dived for the rifle. still laying on the floor, and start wrestling for possession, but I'm not confident I'll come away with it. Ooh. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun towards my face, a position I do not want to be in. I start pushing back hard, but if this thing accidentally fires, I'm not sure where I'd prefer the bullet to go, especially in this room full of chemical tanks. Oh no. I grunt and point the muzzle towards his face, realizing he is literally looking down the barrel of the gun. Marcus ducks his head out of the way. This makes him lose leverage, allowing me to yank the gun from his grip. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle back around to him. For a moment, I think I knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks back at me as if I've betrayed him. Her people, he says. It was them that did this. She deserves to die. She did this. God, he's crazy. Look at Amy and wish I could help her. I'm relieved to see that she is managing to draw a few breaths. Her legs move as if she's trying to push herself into a sitting position. You wouldn't know, Marcus says. You didn't work here under the secrecy. You don't know what it's like to... He surprised me by lunging towards me, leaping from the floor like a human projectile. I didn't have time to aim carefully. I have to react fast. Honestly? I react before thinking, my muscles taking over and my finger squeezes the trigger. The blast is deafening. As I watch Marcus fall to the floor and a terrifying thought races through my mind. If some of those things are here, and they didn't know we were here before, they sure as hell do now. Marcus falls to the floor and I see right away that I shot him in the shoulder. His right arm dangles loosely, already covered in blood. He roars in pain on the floor. Only after a few moments, I realize that they're not purely screams of pain. The bastard is calling for them, calling for those creatures to come for us. This place is evil, along with everyone involved, he wails from the floor. If you are taking their side, you deserve to die too. God, this guy's insane. If you want to stop me, you better do it now, you coward. The rage in his eyes at Amy, as well as towards me for stopping him, makes me think that he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again, every urge in my body wanting to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us, but I'm not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and leave him behind. It's gonna come back to bite me, and this guy is insane. I've already shot him. I know it's bad, but I'm gonna do it. I aim for his head and start to squeeze the trigger, but I can't complete the motion while I'm looking at him. I close my eyes tight and I squeeze the trigger. The muscle bursts and I hear Marcus crumple onto the floor. It's not for another 10 seconds or so that I realize I've been standing still, frozen, with my eyes closed, my teeth clenched. I try to avoid looking at Marcus's body. Instead, I lean down to Amy. You okay? I ask. She nods slowly. Have to go, she says, her voice raspy. And then, they'll be here any minute. Too much noise. I have to hold her arm so she can get to her feet. We start forward, and I think of Dennis. We should go back to the hangar doors. I say, can't you just... I can't just leave Dennis there. There's no time, Amy says. You need to come with me to the command center, now. We'll be back for him soon. I stare at Marcus's dead body for a moment, trying to comprehend the fact that my own hands caused him to die. It's a turning point in my life that I'll never recover from. But there's no time to weigh on it now. Oof, my eyes just suddenly lost focus. As I look at him, another high-pitched static sound rings out from elsewhere. It's louder, more ferocious. Amy takes off, presumably towards the other elevator she had mentioned moments ago. As we move out, I look back once more at Marcus's body, motionless. We start running, and after the first few strides, another noise sounds out. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time, it also reminds me of the recordings I heard of whale songs. I dare a look back behind us to see something that has entered the doorway I came through. It is large and bright and too far away to see clearly. I have no interest in seeing it. Whether pulling that hydraulic door would have helped, whether or not it would have helped, I'm not sure. But seeing how close they are, I regretted not doing it. Yeah. I speed up my step and follow Amy as she leads the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously, but pushes on. I can hear something rattling in her breaths, likely a result of Marcus's attack. This makes me imagine how cold, uncaring eyes must have looked, just staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How she's still forging on is beyond me. Sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. At least you handed me the gun. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. Oh fuck, yeah, it's getting worse. I kinda wish I closed those doors now, but I feel like Marcus would have run away. I'm not so sure, she says, her eyes flickered straight ahead. I'm not sure I can blame her. I had just wanted to say something encouraging, I guess. We finally came to the elevator at the end of the row of silos. Now, I am more concerned with the monstrosity that is at our heels. Amy furiously slaps the button to open the doors. They slide open slowly. I feel like it's taking forever. We squeeze in before the doors are opened all the way, Amy actually falling to her knees and screaming. I ready the rifle and watch helplessly as the doors finally reach their fully opening capacity. As they hold open, I see a large shape floating towards us. The phosphorant-like white glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also entered the biochem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right. It moves with eerie speed. They're heading in the direction of Marcus's body. Honestly, the thought of them feasting on his corpse doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy is pressing the button to close the elevator door over and over and over, but they stay open for what seems like an eternity. I curse whoever designed these damn doors. Hide inside the elevator. Twitch is dying on my end and I can't watch anymore. We'll make sure to watch it on YouTube though. Have a good night, Zen. Oh, alright, Luna. See you later. Amy and I slide ourselves up against the sides of the elevator, trying to avoid being seen, but I can't help but peeking around the corner. I hold the rifle steady, ready to fire. That's when I see them in a clear light for the first time. I can see their features, their shape, their colours. My mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes any sense. My eyes try to see a squid, but see a squid? But that's not what these things are. They are grey and white and seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles, but somewhere in between. They don't walk on these appendages, but use them to glide. They move like ghosts and seem to jerk every now and then, every few feet or so. But I am pretty sure that this jerking effect is not a result of their moving, but my mind's inability to understand how they are moving exactly. It's also more than their appearance that makes a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inwards, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself for their existence. The peculiar effect on the air makes their movements seem like something moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush towards the elevator. They'll be inside here in under a few seconds. Check the rifle to see that my ammo is diminishing. I have to start saving my shots. I'm going to have to start to be choosy. Oh, Christ. Don't shoot. They keep advancing, even though I know the doors may not close in time. I manage to keep my cool and avoid firing off any more rounds. Finger itches to pull the trigger, but I resist. I'm not even sure a gun would affect them. Finally, the elevator door closes. The creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electrical noise and crying out in anger. The tips of their spider-like appendages poke through the wall and the elevator door. For some reason, they can't get all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling to the rifle and hope that the creatures don't find Dennis as he waits by the hangar doors where I left him. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. Oh boy. Okay, on that note, it's the end of chapter 3. I believe there are 5 chapters in this. I believe it said that at the beginning, that there was 5 chapters. I've been going for nearly 3 hours now, so I'm going to cut it there. I'm ending it here. My next stream will be back, maybe even tomorrow. Back with this to finish it off. But to everyone watching, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad to have every single person here. Yeah, have a good day. Have a good night. Whatever it is in the place that you are, have a good one. Bye.